Hi guys, I can't believe I'm saying this, but welcome to my review of Once Upon a Time episode 601, The Saviour. Can you imagine the level of excitement that I have been feeling for the past few days? If you follow me on Twitter, you probably can, because my Twitter account has basically become like a shrine to Once Upon a Time. Over the past week, I have been retweeting the sneak peek clips. I have been favouriting pretty much any Captain Swan related tweet that has come into existence. Well, any positive Captain Swan related tweet that's come into existence. It's just basically been me obsessing over it for the past week. I've been looking forward to this for what feels like a very long time, and it's finally here. So, marvellous coincidence that you wouldn't believe. Today's actually a bank holiday in Scotland, and so I am off work. So I had the Monday off, and obviously the episode was airing Sunday night in America, and it is actually going up on Netflix on the Monday, where it went up on the Wednesday last season. So we're getting it on the Monday from now on, but it wasn't up quite yet. But I managed to get hold of it and watch it this morning when I got up. So that was a great way to start off my bank holiday Monday. As you know, if you watched my last video, I was actually away last weekend. So I had a nice weekend away last weekend. So I'm just having a lazy day today. And guys, I loved it. I loved it. I loved it so much. I've just watched it, so usually when I film these reviews it's like the next day, so I've had some time to like calm down and process, whereas I haven't had that yet, so be prepared for just like an onslaught of ridiculous excitement. So first thing I suppose that I want to address is the sneak peek clips, because if you're me, you watched them. I didn't watch all three of them. I didn't watch the Rumble one because, I don't even know if Belle was in it, but the Rumple one, I didn't watch it. Because I felt by that point I'd watched the other two, and I thought, oh, I don't want to watch too much before I see like the actual episode in its entirety. But like, let's be honest, the first sneak peek clip is like the sneak peek of dreams, so obviously I watched that the minute that it went up. Is it concerning? It probably is concerning that the fandom, and I say the fandom as if I'm not a huge part of that, has been like so concerned about the sex lives of fictional characters. Probably is. But I don't really care at this point. We've been waiting since 404, when they went on their first date, for like the coffee scenario to actually come to fruition. I feel like there's a strange way that I've worded that there, but like, it's something that has been very much talked about within the fandom, is like other couples have got like more intimate scenes than we've ever got to see for them, and so it just posed this like question to the point that Leanne Aguilera on ET Now, if you watch her interviews, she eventually was like forced by Twitter to ask Adam and Eddie like, what's going on there? Like, can you tell us, has that situation been, I think she used the word consummated, and Adam and Eddie thought it was hilarious, and they were like, that's a very personal question, you'd have to leave that to them. So I quite enjoyed the fact that in this episode, obviously, we're not, like, it's a show on ABC, we're not going to get anything like too in-depth, not that we're all looking for anything too in-depth, but just like a little bit of indication that that's going on. And we got that, and it was very cute, and there was the chat about the red leather jacket, which I will admit, the first time I watched it, I was a bit like, would she really say red leather jacket right in that moment? And then the more I thought about it, I was like, well, yeah, because this is actually a very significant thing. It's the armour, and she's like trying to take it off, and he says he likes it. Oh, guys, so cute. So I like that a lot. I like that scene. It annoyed me that they got interrupted, but a story break, of course they're going to get interrupted. I'm just going to also point out that I have a cup of tea right now, so I may have some drinks of this while I'm rambling, because this could go on for a while. Moving on from that, so that I don't spend the entire however long this video is talking about that. I like that we got that quite early on, and especially given what then goes on with Emma and the rest of the episode, I'm glad that we got one cute light moment for them. The opening of the episode I really enjoyed. We'd obviously already seen that clip of Aladdin and Jafar at the Comic-Con panel, so I'd already seen that, was very excited about that. Since that's the only introduction that we really got to the Aladdin situation in the episode, it's got me very intrigued, and I really wanted to see some more of that, but I think that probably holding that back was sensible, because I'm about to talk about what I really liked about the overall format of this episode. What they've said a lot in discussions about season 6 is that it's kind of going back to slightly more season 1, season 2 style, where it's very much focused on Storybrooke and our main kind of core set of characters. Their lives are going to be influenced by the stories of the, you know, the characters from the Land of Untold Stories, and that's going to have a huge impact on how they develop over the course of the season. However, the main kind of focus is going to be put back on our sort of main set of characters, rather than spending too much time dealing with extra characters who are brought in for the season, I guess. And I feel like they did a really lovely job of that with this episode. This episode had like everything that you would want for like old style Once Upon a Time moments. You had some really nice snowing moments. I feel like Snow got more lines than she's had for a while, and I know that that is because Jenny's been pregnant for like the past 3 seasons or whatever. So I feel like all that chat about Snow kind of coming back into that leadership role really felt like it was starting to happen in this episode, which I enjoyed a lot. And just some little moments with her and Charming kind of being more of a focus of the group rather than on the outskirts, because I feel like that's happened quite a lot over the past season or two. Then we got some really lovely moments between Snow and Regina, which I enjoyed. I really loved that conversation towards the end of the episode when they were sitting on the bench. She was apologising to her for being a terrible stepmother, which I thought was nice, and I feel like what I liked was I feel like there definitely has been a slight shift in Regina. She's got that same sass and she's got that same wit about her, but there's, I don't know if it's just sort of wishful thinking, but I do feel like there's this slight softening and just the way that she was willing to open up and have that conversation with Snow I thought was really nice, and hopefully sort of reflective of that kind of removal of that evil side of her. So I really enjoyed that. I thought that that was good. Then obviously the Rumble stuff. There was a lot of Rumble stuff in this episode which I actually really enjoyed. I'm glad that Emily's back kind of in the foreground. Again, another actor who was pregnant last season. But I liked how this episode was handled. I actually really liked Morpheus, and I thought he was going to be like a new character, and then when it's like, oh no, that's who your son is, I thought that was very clever. And nicely done. And there was that slightly weird moment where he was talking about True Love's Kiss, but obviously he's an adult in this dream situation, and you're going, are you in love with Belle? Like, what's been happening with you two in this dream scenario when Rumple's not been here? And then you find out that he is their son. I like that. I thought that was very nicely done. I thought that the actor who played him was really good. I thought that worked well. I like to see Belle really keeping that strength. I won't lie, I really enjoyed those sort of throwbacks to early Rumble moments in the castle, and obviously the dance with the yellow dress. But I am glad that when she kind of came to, and after they kissed and she realised what was happening, I'm glad that she stood her ground. I think ultimately Rumble are still going to be endgame, but I do think that there's a massive amount of work that needs to be done before that. I think what they did nicely in the last season was that they had Belle realise that she also loved the dark side of him, and that the man she fell for was the Rumple of underneath, but also he was the dark one, and there was a part of her who liked that. And I think that it was good that she was kind of forced to acknowledge that last season. So I think what needs to happen this season is he needs to be forced to acknowledge that she's accepted her part in it. He now has to accept his and realise that if he doesn't find a way to change, he is going to lose her, but not only that, he's going to lose his son. So I thought that was all very good and very clever. And it's just, Rumple you just want to shake, because you feel like every time he gets close to doing the right thing, he just falls and he does the wrong thing, and he can't resist the power and he can't resist the darkness. And you just want to kind of fight for him and be like, look, mate, just for once, do the right thing and you'll end up happy, and everyone will end up happy. And it just feels like he never will manage to do that. I really enjoyed the dream sequence thing, and I think that that was quite a nice way of doing it actually, of having Belle wake up, because they could have done that in a lot of different ways, but I think sending him in there to try and like make her fall in love with him again, which is like not a romantic thing really at all, but that kind of feeling of having him try to like reach her in a way that he thinks, he's sort of saying, oh, I know it's a trick, but you know, if I can get her to wake up, then I'll move forward and then I'll be a better man and whatever. So I think that that was quite nicely done, and I enjoyed those scenes, and I thought that Robert and Emily were very good, as they always are. The Regina Zelina stuff I liked, and I think was good and believable, because I enjoyed that first scene where Regina went home and Zelina had kind of caused chaos everywhere, unpacking and looking after the baby. But I think the fact that she lost that one thing that Roland had left for Regina, and that had bothered me a lot in the season 5 finale, that Regina and Roland didn't get a moment to say goodbye. I kind of hated that, and I felt like that shouldn't have happened. But at least he'd given that present to Zelina to pass on as that kind of final moment of connection between them, and Zelina's gone and lost it. So that sort of, those moments of Regina trying to be like, I am calm and I am not angry and everything is fine, just felt so kind of unlikely. And even though she's got rid of that evil side of her, you know that that doesn't mean that she's not still going to be raging that Zelina has been that careless. So I think that it was good that later on we had that confrontation and we had that admission, where when Snow was talking to Regina later, she was like, oh, I don't think honesty is going to be our problem. she was just upfront with Zelina and said, look, do you know what, I blame you, and every time I look at you I think about losing Robin and I think about what Hades did and I can't get that out of my head. And I think that was a lot more realistic than if they just had them play like happy families from the start. So that was good, and I hope that it's going to lead to some interesting exploration of that relationship, especially considering that the only hint of Evil Queen that we got in this episode was her meeting up with Zelina at the end. That surprised me actually. I thought that we were going to get a bit more of the Evil Queen in this episode, but I think actually it was probably nice that they gave just Regina on her own that time to kind of have this episode to explore how she's feeling in the aftermath of all this before the Evil Queen sort of goes on the rampage and starts causing absolute chaos. Apologies for the lighting, by the way. It is like 2:45 in the afternoon, but it's really dark and grey and gloomy outside, so still need to get myself some lights. Okay, so that's the Regina Zelina situation covered. I've talked about snowing. I have talked about the Regina and Snow stuff. Obviously, I'm struggling a bit with this saviour stuff. I think I'm not going to go into too much depth with this because I've actually got an entire video planned on why I love Emma Swan and why I think that she's a good and interesting representation of a strong woman, and I want to make that video separately, so I'm not going to go into too much depth with my thoughts on this at the moment. I will say that I was a tiny bit gutted that the only well no, that's a lie, we got a cute scene towards the end. I was going to say the only cute Captain Swan scene that we got was the one that we'd seen in the sneak peek. That's not true. We had the one towards the end where she gave him the little kiss in the cheek, and that was cute, and told him that, you know, everything was fine, which is a lie. And you just kind of want to go, Emma, have you learnt nothing from all of the stuff that has happened over the past couple of seasons? However, what I will say is that while my automatic instinct is to be like, please don't lie to Killian and just open up to him and he can help you through this, I think that we have to remember that Emma is a character who has spent a lifetime, literally a lifetime, with walls up and guards up, and her instinct, no matter what the situation is and no matter how much she's learned and how far she's come, her instinct is always going to be to kind of clam up, and it's going to take longer than just the time that we've had so far for her to fully embrace that change and fully embrace the ability to be completely vulnerable. So just because she's gone to the underworld for Hook, and just because she's told him that she loves him in a situation where they're not about to die, and just because she's embraced, you know, being close to her family and building friendships, doesn't mean that that lifetime instinct to kind of run and to cope by yourself isn't still going to be fighting in there. And I think that I really liked the scene between her and Archie, and I really hope that we see more of that development of her kind of in therapy, because I feel like, I know this is a magical show and that, you know, they've got constant battles to be fighting, but I do think that Emma is a character who could definitely use some therapy. I feel like I want her to be able to just sit down and like talk it all out. And Archie's so sweet. I felt really sorry for him when she snapped at him, or not snapped at him, but like said, oh, talking to a cricket's going to help me kind of thing. And then, you know, obviously she felt bad about that, but I do think that that would be good for her, especially given the circumstances of what we're going to face in the rest of this season. I like that we're exploring the saviour mythology in this season. I've been excited about this since I first discovered that that's what's going to be a huge part of this season. I love that Aladdin's a saviour. I'm really interested in the exploration of this mythology, and even though I hate it, like, what I keep telling myself is like, Emma's like one of the central characters to this show. In fact, the central characters to this show, if we want to boil it straight back down to what it was when it started, where Snow, Regina and Emma, and that sort of relationship between the three of them and who they were to each other and the relationships between them. The whole thing got kicked off by Regina hating Snow, or the Evil Queen hating Snow and wanting revenge on her, and then Snow having her baby and sending her baby off to this other realm to keep her safe. And so, you know, they are the kind of like the main group of characters within the show, and everyone else is important and everyone else's stories are valid and interesting and exciting, but I feel like the kind of main starting point for this show was those three characters. So I'm sort of like, she won't die, they won't kill her, and they've just spent a season giving us nightmare scenarios where they've killed Killian 3 times and then they killed Robin. Like, they're not going to kill Emma. I'm sure that they're not, but I do just feel like it's going to be an awfully stressful ride. I also kind of just hate that she's lying to him, because she doesn't need to lie to him now. But as I say, I accept that that It's part of who she is. She wants to try and deal with these things on her own, even though she's come so far. She's been through so much in her life and she's not really properly dealt with it. And as Archie said, she spent years now battling villains and going through these horrible traumas. She almost lost Henry, back in season 1. She's lost Hook about 3 times throughout the past couple of years. Neil died, Graham died. She's had huge issues with her parents over what's happened with them in the past. She's had multiple different issues with Regina building their relationship to the point it is now. She's been through so much and she really does need to sit down and have a proper talk about it. I was a bit worried towards the end of the episode after we'd had that little scene right in the middle where they were in the middle of the forest and she told him to go away and leave her alone. And I was like, oh, why are you doing this to me? I got a really cute scene at the end of season 5 and I was like, oh, lovely, they've been through all their traumatic, stressful stuff. What a stressful season that was. Look how lovely that they're now at this lovely place in their lives. And now it's like, oh, did you really think that it would be that easy? Which is a line from the Evil Queen from the next episode, I think, from the promo where the Evil Queen says to Regina, because Regina says, I thought I killed you, or did I not kill you, or whatever. And she says, did you really think it would be that easy? And of course it wasn't going to be that easy. I can't wait for a face-off between Regina and the Evil Queen. Lana is just amazing and this is going to, I think it's just going to be ridiculously exciting when you see them together. Just realised I've been talking for a long time and I haven't actually referenced Hyde or the Land of Untold stories really at all. I really loved that moment towards the end of the episode where they were kind of welcoming all these characters from the Land of Untold stories into Granny's and they were giving them blankets and food and, looking after them as, the Storybook characters always do. So I thought that was really lovely and I enjoyed that. I loved the moment in the woods when Snow was kind of standing there taking charge and saying, we are here for you and we want to help you and don't be afraid of us, you can trust us, come and work with us and we'll help you. So I thought that was nice. I was concerned about Hyde and I will say this, I really loved him in the season 5 finale. I thought that he was excellent, he was very creepy and I thought that he played it very well. And then in the sneak peek clip, the second clip, which was when that, what's it called? There was a whole interview about this, dirigible, or whatever it was, the big spaceship thing that so rudely interrupted Hook and Emma. That thing, when they were talking to Hyde about that and Emma and Regina tried to combine their powers to defeat him and he just sort of brushed them off. In that scene I felt like his voice was really pantomime villain and really over the top and I was like, oh, I don't know if I like this because I felt like it worked really well in season 5 in the last episode and then in that promo or sneak peek I just thought, oh, I don't know how I feel about that. And then I'd seen that Jocelyn had mentioned on Twitter that she wasn't really sure of his voice and I thought, oh good, I'm not alone in thinking that. But I will say that in the rest of the episode I actually felt fine about it. I felt like the problematic part was just that one scene. I feel like it was just too much. It was too comic, too pantomime villain. Whereas in the rest of it I felt like it worked a lot better. Particularly just in the scenes between him and Emma in the prison cell. I felt like it worked quite well there and I felt like there was a nice tension between those two actors in those scenes. I felt like that worked really well. Jen was amazing as she always is. I love her so very much, we all know this, and I feel like this season's going to be another exhausting one for her. I'm really excited to see how they're going to play all this out. The one thing that I didn't agree with in terms, sorry by the way that this is all over the place, but you know me, when I talk about this show I can't be concise, but the one thing that I didn't really think rang true, and I've seen people on Twitter talking about this, is in the kind of vision that she was having and when the Oracle was showing her that entire scene of how her story comes to an end kind of thing. Which just even saying that really stresses me out. But in that moment when she's fighting whoever this villain is, and in my head I think it's the Evil Queen. Anyone else just feel instinctively like it's going to be the Evil Queen? Anyway, so in that moment where she's kind of fighting for her life and the sword gets knocked out of her hand and falls down, and they pan the camera around and you've got Killian and Henry and Snow and Charming standing watching, and Henry's cowered into Killian's side and he's looking after him, which very cute, not the point. The point of that is that those 4 characters would not just stand there and watch while Emma was about to get stabbed today. Yes, I know that none of them have magic, but they all love her. They are the people in the world who... Once Upon a Time fans favouriting my tweets there because we all are joining together in the joy of talking about this episode. Yeah, anyway, they would not just stand back and watch her get stabbed. I don't believe that for a minute. All 4 of those characters would be in there. Fair enough if one of them was holding Henry back to try and protect him, the other 2 would be in there trying to save her. even if it meant like risking their own lives, because they would all risk their lives for her because she's risked her lives for them a million times before. So I don't really buy that, but hopefully that's just because this vision is horribly inaccurate and she's going to be fine. What I'm really hoping is that in the next couple of episodes, and I know this isn't going to happen, so I don't know why I'm doing this to myself, but what I really hope happens in the next couple of episodes is that she gets put in a position where she realises that she can't do this by herself, and she turns to Killian and she tells him what's going on, and he goes, oh my god, I will do anything that I can to save you, let's go and talk to Regina and your parents about this and Henry, and we will all work together to save the saviour. I feel like that's not going to happen. I've read all of these things where Adam and Eddie are going, oh, it's a lie, that's for a good reason, but you know, if he finds out about it, he'll be devastated. And I'm like, oh. The thing is, I know that they don't want to end the show yet, like at the end of season 6, and I don't want them to end the show at the end of season 6. So if they're going to go on and do a season 7 and maybe even a season 8, I don't know if it'll get that much. I'd love it to. It would make me so happy. But if they are going to do that, I do understand that they can't have everything smooth sailing for any of the characters. They've got to have drama and they've got to have ups and downs. But can we not just have like one episode? One episode is all I'm asking, where things between them are nice and calm and happy. Did you see how happy she was at the start of this episode? It was just radiating out of her. Jane did such a wonderful job of having that like joy just like radiate out from her, as did Colin. It was such a happy moment, and I wish they could get more than like a 30-second clip of happiness in their lives. But that wouldn't be dramatic, would it? And that wouldn't have like filled me with the sheer level, well, that's a lie. If they told me I was going to get a happy Captain Swan, like if they told me next week's episode was going to be them, like 40 minutes of them just like living their lives in their house, I'd be totally up for that. But you know what I mean, in terms of the actual excitement of the progression of the plot and what's going to be happening with these characters from the Land of Untold Stories and with the Evil Queen, we need some drama. We always need some drama, and I finished the episode feeling totally buzzing and so excited for 602. Cannot wait for it now. Oh, how I have missed these rambles, these incoherent just word vomit scenarios that always ends up happening when I talk about this show. But let me know in the comments down below what you thought about this episode, if there were any elements of it that you particularly enjoyed or elements of it that you weren't sure about. How are you feeling about the return of the Evil Queen? I could not be more excited, and I really can't wait, as I say, for a face-off between Regina and the Evil Queen. I think Lana is going to do some amazing things this season. And let me know what your hopes are for the next episode. What are your hopes for Snowing? What are your hopes for Snow as a leader of the pack in general? What are your hopes for Rumble and Zelina and Captain Swan and all of the characters? What do you want for Henry? Is Henry still with Violet? Is Violet still here? So many questions to be answered next week. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope that you enjoyed that episode, and I hope that you enjoyed my ramble. As I say, let me know in the comments down below what you thought, and if you want to see more videos from me, do remember to hit the subscribe button. Please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and let me know if this format still works, and I will talk to you again soon. Thanks for watching. Bye.